Hi everyone, it's Kamau. Welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. This is round 18 of the game, this or that. Now I'm going to go down 12 pairs of words which are opposite words, and I'm going to tell you which of the pairs I prefer. I would like you to tell me which of the pairs you prefer. This is all about getting to know each other. So let's begin. The first question is, are your friends exes off limits or fair game? Right? Are your friends exes off limits to you or fair game? I would say fair game, right? I think if it was my relative, it would be more tacky, even then I don't think it would be off limits, but a little more tacky, like I said. But friends, if you were in a relationship with someone and it ended. You've moved on, the other person moved on, so why would you limit your friend from trying? I don't know, I guess too it depends on why. If it's something like he was abusive, he got into trouble with the law, that kind of thing, then you would say, you'd have to really think about it and say, well, why would I be running into that situation if I saw what happened there? But let's say the relationship just ended because you were no longer compatible, you drifted apart, your views change about stuff. Why would you limit your friend from trying if they made a connection and they're willing to try? Why would you limit them just because they're your friend? I'm not going for that, right? The person is back on the market is fair game. If your friend was close enough to have seen what was happening and still wants to try, give your friend your blessing. That's my view, right? Number 2, would you date someone under 30? Yes or no? Well, it's a definite yes for me. Age is not a consideration, really. Once a person is an adult, age is not the determining factor. For me, I would have to look at the level of maturity, ambition, does this person have goals? How emotionally stable is this person? Their integrity. These are the kind of things I consider. What values they have, their level of confidence, their temperament, all of these things. And once the age is not an issue for them, because if it's an issue for them and it's something that's going to keep recurring and you're going to be having to quell this insecurity in them, then it makes no sense. But if it's a much younger person, and he's confident and it's not an issue for him, it's certainly not an issue for me. Certainly not an issue for me. Number 3, would you keep any pets? Yes or no? No, I'm not a pet person. I tend to view having pets the same as I view having animals in a zoo, and I'm not for that. I've been to zoos, I go and I look, but I really don't like the idea. I just feel animals should be, I don't think you should confine them, put them in cages. Even if they're in the yard, it's still a confined space. I know though that many of these animals now that we have traditionally domesticated, they couldn't fend for themselves in the wild. They couldn't at this point, they couldn't. So I guess we're stuck with this whole pet thing. But for me personally, I don't want any pets. I don't like the idea of having pets. Dogs and cats always find me, however, they always find my house and free roam, like they pay the rent. My aunt has a pet, tiny little dog, Bella. And we're very close. And whenever I visit my aunts, in Florida, Bella looks out for me, and we're pretty close. I think she's the only pet that I've really developed a bond with. Yeah, so Bella has a strong personality. As tiny as she is, she has attitude, she's fierce, she's tiny little thing. But I would not keep a pet personally. Number 4, would you propose to a man, or does he have to propose? Well, I actually prefer if he does. I've never been married, but I would love if the man proposes. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned with that. When it comes to actually initiating the relationship, getting things started, I don't mind being dominant. I will approach a man and say, I'm interested, or I'm available. I will do that. I'll do that. I've done that. Been there, done that. Times X, right? So, but once things get going, I prefer to allow the man to initiate, whether it's the texting, the setting the date for going out, hanging out. I really prefer for the man to take that initiative. For me, it's very important that he wants it, he's comfortable with it. That's just me, right? So I will tend to just sit back and let him initiate that kind of thing. Now that I will never say, let's do this, let's do that. But I prefer if he does. So I'm going with no. I don't think I would propose to a man. I would let him do the proposing. Number 5. Would you date someone from another race? Yes or no? For me personally, that's a no. I've only dated black men. I'm only interested in black men. They're the only ones I find attractive to the point of being in a relationship with. Different from that, I think politically I'm obligated to mate with a black man, because I think he's the only one who would understand me, really, would be able to relate to me on that level, because of the shared experience, the racial experience, which I think is important in a mate. I think that's very important in a mate, for them to be able to relate to you based on the historical experience, the whole general collective experience, as well as the day-to-day experience as a black person in going through this world. I think that's very important. For me it is. So I don't think I would date outside of my race. Number 6, does a man have to be chivalrous or no? And by that I mean, opening the doors, pulling out the chair, that kind of stuff. Well, he doesn't have to do all of that. But I do like when a man is a gentleman, when he does certain things like that. It's nice. I like it, I like it. So yes, I don't think he has to be, but it's a quality that I appreciate in a man. And it shows that he knows your worth, and it's important to him that you're comfortable. It's important to him that you're safe, treats you like a queen, treats you like a goddess. I'm all for that, because that's how I treat myself, and so it's only right that my spouse would treat me, and I treat him like that as well. My spouse is my king, is my God, is my emperor, right? So that's how we should treat each other. Kindly, considerately. Number 7, who comes first, me or him? There's this saying, who comes first win. Who comes first win. I appreciate when your lover takes the time. As a male, he takes the time to ensure that you are satisfied. And sometimes it just takes a little patience on his part, and some men just don't care about that. It's just all about them and their satisfaction, and the woman is left hanging. So I appreciate when a man will, you know, be patient enough to ensure that the woman gets to the point of orgasm first. Doesn't have to be all the time, but yeah, that is appreciated. Number 8, the good morning texts, the good night texts, are they mandatory or not? Well, I wouldn't say they're mandatory. They're nice to get. It's good to know that you're the first and the last thing on his mind. You know, it's also good to know that the person just says, well, I'm going to bed now. I'm safe. So you know they're safe. They're going to bed. Or they woke up, you know. They're up, they're ready to face the day. So it's nice to get, but I don't think I would raise an issue if I don't get a good morning text or a good night text. It will not be an issue for me. It's just a nice little touch. Not an obligation at all. Number 9, if he's less educated than I am, is that a deal breaker? It certainly is not. It certainly is not a deal breaker. Education, and I think by that question, education is meant book learning. For me, the book learning is not the most important thing, right? Are you emotionally educated? Are you street smart? Are you common sense smart? You know, are you emotionally smart? Those for me are the important things. Can you handle yourself in a social situation? You have many persons who are very well educated book-wise, very erudite, and they can't handle themselves socially or emotionally. So give me the guy who, I mean, he should be committed to educating himself. He should not be averse to the books, you get what I'm saying? And he should be at least willing to further himself along those lines, but it's not the most important thing for me. The common sense, the street sense, emotional sense, those for me are the most important thing. Number 10, you end up paying on the first date. So you go on your first date, and for whatever reason you end up having to pay the bill. Is that a deal breaker, or you let it slide? For me, it's a deal breaker, because as I said, I'm kind of old-fashioned with those kind of things. The man is a provider, and he should have that instinct of providing. So if he's so comfortable with letting the woman foot the bill, especially on the first date, that's a sign for me. That's a bad sign. The first impression is important. So if he's so lax that he doesn't want to make a good first impression, I would borrow the money, to be honest. For the first date, as the man, I would borrow the money. She's not going to be footing the bill on the first date. Number 11, spacing children. How spaced are your children? Close together or far apart? When they're close together, like 1, 2, 3 years apart, I think it's good because they get to play together. You know, they can relate to each other. They bond more, I think. You know, it's not necessarily so, but I think they bond more. My siblings and I are typically 3 years apart, and my children also are typically 3 to 5 years apart, generally speaking. And I think that was good because they grew up together, they played, they have a strong bond as siblings. Whereas, you know, to have like some siblings have gaps like 10, 12 years, and it's hard for them to relate. Although there are other dynamics which are positive for that space. You know, they are more protective of the smaller siblings and so on, can provide more guidance for them. So there's that. And I would love to have 4 more. I raised 4, and I'd love to have 4 more. And If I have 4 more, I'd space them like 1 or 2 years apart. And I'd love to have twins so that I don't have to go 4 separate times. The last question, yeah, I love raising children. I absolutely love children. I'm with children every single day. I'm a teacher and I adore children. Last question, would you make love on your period? I think I tried that like once or twice in all my life, and it's very messy, as you can imagine. It's not my thing, you know, unless you're actually in the shower. The thing though is, at that time you actually feel more aroused. You actually feel more aroused, like you want to make love on your period. I don't know why. I guess hormones. What's up with that, Mother Nature? Mother Nature, what's up with that? Why do we feel more aroused during that messy time? Okay, so here's a list. Are your friends' exes off limits or fair game? Would I date a guy under 30 years old? Would you keep any pets? Would you propose to a man? Or does he have to propose? Would you date someone from another race? Does a man have to be chivalrous? Who comes first, me or him? The good morning and good night texts, are they mandatory or not? If he's less educated, is that a deal breaker? If you end up footing the bill on the first date, is that a deal breaker? Spacing children, are they close apart or far apart? And would you make love on your period? I want to know your answers, so please drop them in the comments. Look out for part 19, you know it's on its way, and subscribe if you have not done so. Catch you later.